First of all, let's ask a question that I'm thinking about right here. That's not something that I have written down, but why do you want to ask about cyber insurance on the QBR at all? There's a couple of reasons. Number one, the landscape of what an MSP has to deal with is constantly shifting because technology is constantly shifting. When I got involved with the MSP business a long time ago, the cloud was very nascent. There was still a lot of on-prem stuff. And, obviously, and I'm not going to go through all the technological changes that have occurred in the last 10 or 15 years, but MSPs have to move where the market is going. And so clearly we're here talking about cybersecurity today. It's a big part of your business. And whether you like it or not, insurance is a big part of security, right? It always has been in the physical world, and it is in the world in the digital domain as well. So it's something that you have to understand and be proactive about because it's really part of your business these days. And the good news is that if your clients have cyber insurance, if they don't have cyber insurance, it represents an opportunity for discussion points for you, and it also represents potential business opportunities. So I'm going to go through a couple of quick questions you can ask on a QBR and why you should ask them and what you can do with them. So the first question is to ask people if they have a cyber policy, and if they don't, why not? I mean, really, best practice for everybody is to have a cyber insurance policy. We've seen so many companies almost virtually get wiped out because they don't have a cyber insurance policy. How many of your clients have an extra $50,000-$100,000 in their bank account that they would be able to pay an incident response team, a ransomware if necessary, legal fees? They just typically, the type of customers that MSPs have, they don't have that money lying around. So like with all insurance, cyber insurance is a monetary risk mitigation tool. And if they do have it, it's great. If they don't have it, it should be something you're recommending to all your clients. Okay, so now let's go to the next question. Question number 2, which is, okay, so now let's assume that a client has a policy. Okay, that's great. We know they have a policy. What is the next question? Well, we want to ask when it comes up for renewal. And why is that? There's actually a couple of reasons. Number one, when a cyber insurance policy comes up for renewal, typically, in order to get the renewal, as probably many of you know, you're going to have to answer an awful lot of questions from the insurance company, and maybe not, right? Depending upon who the insurance company is, but you'll have to answer a bunch of questions about what types of cyber technologies does the client have deployed. Now, why this is an opportunity for you is that, I would say 60 days before the renewal, maybe even 90 days if you want to be proactive, feel free to reach out to us at Blue Team Alpha, and we can talk to you about the types of mitigations that insurance companies are typically asking for during this annual renewal cycle. And this will potentially give you an opportunity for project work, because if the client wants to be able to get cyber insurance, it's not just a matter of writing a check. You will not get cyber insurance if you don't have certain technologies implemented, like MFA, security awareness training, EDR, to name a few. This represents an opportunity for you to get in and do some proactive project work. Let's go to the next question now. And now we're getting into the carrier, the policy itself. And this will represent another opportunity as well. If the client has an insurance policy, and they're going to be renewing with the same carrier. We want to know who the carrier is. Why do we want to know that? Because at Blue Team Alpha, we have the capability to become the endorsed IR responder for your client. And why does that advantage you? If your client has an incident that requires activation of the policy, the insurance company is going to assign an incident response team to help recover from the situation. Now, there are many different aspects of incident response. There's what's called the threat hunting, so we can find out how the attacker was able to penetrate the environment, because you want to be able to close that up so the threat actor can't come back in later using the same tactics. And to digress on a quick story, we have actually seen that happen, where someone got hit with ransomware, and they didn't pay the ransom, and they restored their environment, but they had no idea how the hacker got in. And then a month later, the hacker got in again and ransomed them again. So you have to know how you were penetrated, and that's called threat hunting. Threat hunting goes part and parcel with something that's called forensics, which provides us with the information on how the threat actor got in. And then also, we want to evaluate the client's environment for what's called persistence, because the hacker might still be in there, and you want to be able to kick them out. So that's what an incident response organization does. And then a whole other part of incident response would be called restoration and recovery. The client's environment is down in one way, shape, or form, and we want to, so to speak, put Humpty Dumpty back together again, get the client back up and running. So Blue Team Alpha has the capability to become the IR team for your client organization. And that's obviously very important, because we know you, you know us. And so we can work together as a team to bring the client back up and running sooner. And obviously that's of benefit to the client. We can actually start working on the incident response much, much sooner in this type of situation. So, for example, we can start working on an incident within an hour of when the incident actually occurs, if we are endorsed as the incident response provider on the policy. Whereas if you just call the insurance company, getting an IR company to start working on the project can take anywhere from 4 hours to 4 days. So getting endorsed as the incident responder, your client's cyber insurance policy has a lot of benefits and virtually no downside. So we can work with you to get that endorsement established. Okay. And if the client has a policy, not all cyber policies are appropriate for client organizations. And that's because most insurance agents are not experts in cyber insurance. And when they sell insurance on the annual cycle to their clients, they're selling them a number of policies, and they might just sell the client a cyber insurance policy that happens to be the one that their agency is selling, and it might not match the client as well as it could. So if your client feels that their agent is not an expert on that, on cyber insurance, we can provide resources on that to help the client with a policy. Now, that doesn't necessarily help you directly, but again, it allows you to provide more value to your clients, and certainly they're always going to appreciate that. So let's go over real quickly some of the most common questions in the current cycle. So cybersecurity awareness training, as I mentioned before, and fake phishing, that's an absolute must. if your clients don't have that, they're not going to get cyber insurance without it. And one other thing I will mention is that if your client has a breach and they attest to the fact that they are consuming these services after a breach occurs and the claim has been paid out, the claim can be potentially voided if the client cannot provide evidence that these services were in place. So you can't just say, yeah, I do it, and then kind of forget about it. This really needs to be done. So cybersecurity awareness training and phishing, using a service that provides complete documentation, that's really a must. MFA, as I mentioned before, EDR, these are the most common questions. Another one is offline and immutable backups. We have seen a lot of organizations get ransomware and their backups are online, and the hacker spends a little bit of time in their environment, and not only did they ransom the native systems, but they'll also ransom or encrypt the backup systems. So you have to be able to be resilient, and in order to do that, you have to have offline or immutable backups. So all of these are must-haves, and they should be honestly part of your stack, your basic stack that you're offering to your clients. But if a client wants cyber insurance, they're absolutely going to have to get these items installed. Really any questions about cyber insurance, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's that simple. Whether it's an insurance question or a technology question related to the insurance, or even how cyber insurance works, we have the expertise here at Blue Team Alpha to answer those questions for you.